Hello, world. Welcome to our show, JW Raw with M&M, coming to you live from the world-famous Jackson Week MMA Academy in Albuquerque, New Mexico, USA. Yes, we are in USA, Albuquerque. This is Mark, and I'd like to give a shout-out to our awesome partners that help us keep the show on the air and keep bringing you some interesting guests from different walks of life. Our fighters and athletes are constantly on the lookout for products that will provide a legal performance edge. Legal performance edge, yes. A couple years back, we came across a nutraceutical company that has an incredible technology. Since then, many of the fighters who train at Jackson Wink MMA Academy have been using their products with astounding success. Unlike most sports performance companies, this company began selling their products through doctors. Their unique technologies help the body heal and maintain exceptional health. For this reason, their products are recommended by doctors worldwide. Yes, worldwide. So how does this translate to sports performance? The truth is, you will never be stronger than you are healthy. How many times have we heard of star athletes who miss a big competition because they're out sick? The same technology that is used to boost the immune system and to detoxify, nourish, and rejuvenate the body is the same technology that boosts strength, endurance, and even cuts unwanted body fat, because we don't want to get fat. We are pumped to finally let you know about our best-kept secret here at Jackson Wink MMA Academy. The company is called RNA Sport. You can find them online at rnasport.com. Again, rnasport.com. Look them up. RNA Sport creates incredible sports performance formulas for elite athletes. Our fighters use and love these products. One of the most important things to know about RNA Sport formulas is their ease of use. It's very easy to use, yes. No more messy powders or hard-to-swallow pills. RNA Sport formulas are delivered directly into the body in a simple-to-take, great-tasting sprays. With high absorption, RNA Sport formulas can be taken immediately before a workout or competition with no lag time. RNA Sport formulas support increased strength and endurance, reduced joint and muscle fatigue, improved recovery, a healthy immune system, optimized metabolism, and a whole lot more. RNA Sport provides benefits and technology unlike any performance products you have ever experienced. I highly recommend you to check out rnasport.com and use their products. They will take your performance to the next level. In our next podcast, we will review the amazing benefits of their specific formulas. JW Raw is happy to also have Fireteam Fit as a longtime sponsor. They are a veteran-owned fitness company that is now partnered with the greatest gym in the world, Jackson Wink MMA Academy. Fireteam Fit is giving a special offer of 15% off. That is right, 15% off all their products, all of them. Go check it out, all their products. All you have to do is enter a code. The secret code is JWRAW015. Again, JW Raw, just like the show, 015. Enter that secret code. You're going to get 15% off everything you buy. Make sure you do that at checkout, and then you'll get that discount. We love having Fireteam Fit as a sponsor since they are family and veteran-owned. That is so cool. We love our veterans. We love our family. Both in one big, happy group. We're happy to have them. It's available on both fireteamfit.com and on amazon.com. Everyone knows how to find Amazon. If you're on Amazon, you're legit. You can go find them on Amazon or check out their website, fireteamfit.com. But don't forget to enter that coupon code. Remember, use JWRAW015.
You're listening to JW Raw with M&M.
We are live. We are live. Welcome to the show, Paul Weir, New Mexico Lobos basketball coach.
Thanks for having me.
How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Welcome
I'm
to
really
the gym.
good.
It's you go from one gym to another gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different kind of gym, but a gym nonetheless.
Nice. Honored to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me.
So when does your season start ramping up?
You know what? To be quite honest with you, it never really stops. Whenever school is in session, the guys are allowed to train. So they trained all summer long. When there's a bit of a break between school sessions, so when summer school ends before fall starts, there's a couple of weeks. There's a little bit of a break there. when regular school ends in May before summer school starts. There's a few weeks there. Those are the few weeks where things aren't really going, but the rest of the time the guys are really training year round.
It's just like any other sport, I guess. And
Yep.
if you're taking it serious, you're never stopping.
Exactly right.
And these guys are at the college level, so it's just the middle of where they're going to be
For
if
sure.
they go pro, obviously, at
Yep.
some point. So
Yep.
it's such a cool thing. Here at Jackson Wink, I mean, all these guys started out as in high school.
Yeah.
Some of them went to college, Division I wrestlers or such, and it just never stops. So you get them at that level where they're just right in the middle of their careers, I
Yeah.
guess. So you're molding them to go. You never know. Some of them end up in the pros.
Exactly
How cool
right.
is that?
Exactly
When
right.
you assess some guys and you see them, can you tell who's gonna go far or not? Like, do you know if someone's gonna make it to, big leagues, NBA?
I mean, I think if you look at the NBA, most of those players and even really, really good college players, they're the most physically gifted. They're just they were just given
they stand out.
God-given gifts. They're
Yeah.
they're physical attributes that you'll never be able to coach or teach or anything like that. So you'll see a kid at 14, 15, 16, 17 and go, wow, he's going to be special. I mean, you can usually see that, those really special players. But, there's a lot of them that, you take, and there's no difference between either of you. It's tough to compare. But, you're just going to work your ass off for the next however many years, and eventually you make it. And that's the other 80% of the NBA, But the top-end guys are really physically gifted individuals that you've known for a long time.
Right. I get confused a little bit with that D1, D2 is like UNM. What is it? Is it what?
Yeah, so the NCAA has really three divisions: Division I, Division II, and Division III. And we're Division I. Division I is the one that invests the most money into sports.
Okay, so this is which one?
We're Division I.
Division
Yeah.
One.
So there's
Okay,
three
so
divisions.
That's the highest level.
It's the highest level from
Wow.
an athletic
I did
standpoint.
not know that.
Yeah.
So and that all the athletic programs in there are like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
So
there's Division
One
II schools.
Okay, so this UNM is a Division One
UNM
school.
is Division I school.
Okay,
yes.
good to know. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
So those are
Yeah.
like super duper good athletes.
Kind of. That's
we
that's
get-
the idea.
Yeah, because we get some guys here that come train MMA. We just recruited one big heavyweight, freaking monster, man.
Yeah.
Physical specimen.
Yeah.
He's a player, a football player.
Okay.
Yeah, on a scholarship there. But
Good.
he wants to do MMA.
That's cool. Yeah.
Cross it over.
Yeah.
we,
Why
we
not?
we have a bodybuilder right now
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
crossing over into the MMA world. She's been a professional bodybuilder for years. I mean,
Yeah.
she's got thighs that are just incredibly.
For sure.
She's famous for that, but she's starting to want to do this crossover into MMA. So she's in our amateur program. It is so cool watching her passion.
Yeah.
She's in her training every day. I mean,
That's amazing.
she's already got that ingrained in her from being an athlete anyway, so she knows just how to train and what she wants to
She
do.
says she don't even want to do bodybuilding anymore.
Yeah.
She just wants to completely.
That's
that
cool.
sport is so addictive. It swallows you, man. Like,
Really,
seriously, yeah. Maybe same thing happened to me with like grappling and jiu-jitsu and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just instant, like that's what
That's
I'm
awesome.
gonna be doing. You just fall in love with it, and you're like, where all my time goes, and you
Yeah.
just end up just living on the mat.
Yeah.
You know.
That's tremendous.
Yeah.
So
That's what
you're
it takes to be
you're
good.
originally from Toronto.
I am.
What was your background sports-wise over there?
Oh man, played everything and anything. I grew up a traditional, people. I'm from Canada, but it's very similar to the U.S. Grew up like a lot of kids. Played a lot of sports. Did a
Hockey.
lot of things. Played a ton of hockey.
Hockey.
There you go.
Yeah.
Played a ton of
Left
hockey.
wing.
Russians.
There
Left
you go.
wing.
I was right wing,
Right.
so I was right wing.
We're about the same weight. We probably
Yeah,
could
maybe
be
so.
good pair.
But I'm sure in Russia too. In Canada, when you get to the age of about 13 or 14, you're either headed to the NHL or you're kind of headed down
At 13, wow.
you do.
Wow.
You start to see it right away, like
That's
this, and
impressive.
you get drafted into junior leagues at like 14, 15 years
Yeah.
old. So I got to that age, and I knew some of my teammates were on that track, and me and most of the others were we knew that wasn't really our future. I still loved hockey. I still played it, but I knew I wasn't going down that path. Started playing a lot more basketball, fell in love with that, just kind of like he said, what he fell in love with the mat. So started playing a ton of basketball, went to university for it. So I went to university in Toronto, played it, ended up coaching a high school team after that, and then kind of fell into college coaching in the States.
I was going to say, what brought you to the States? So
Oh,
were you
man.
recruited from?
Long
yeah.
story. No, there's a lot of different layers to it, but I was coaching a high school team, and at the time was probably going to just be a high school coach, and wanted to go to the U.S. to go to teachers college, graduate school, and I wrote back. This was back when you wrote letters. I wrote letters to. I probably wrote 1,000 letters. Every college coach in the country. Hey, my name's Paul Weir. I'm a high school basketball coach in Toronto. I'd love to come down and work for you. I got maybe 2 or 3 responses. One was down at a really small school in Louisiana called Northwestern State University. I packed my car, I got in it, drove down, and just been coaching down here ever since. Yeah,
haven't returned to Canada since.
He's from
I've
the
been
same
back
town.
and forth for some stuff.
I played
same town
played
as James Naismith, right?
James Naismith is Canadian. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, he is.
So he's from Toronto is what we're getting at, yeah.
He's Canadian. I think he's
Not necessarily
Montreal.
Toronto. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'd have to double check, but
yeah, either way,
Kingston, but
some greats coming out of there.
for sure. For sure.
Getting back to hockey, man. I
Yeah.
mean, Russia, Canada, the biggest
Oh
rival.
man.
Oh my God.
I was there for the Canada Cup when we won. I was a kid, and I don't even remember the game. I just remember the screaming at the end of the game. I think it was Mario Lemieux scored.
Oh, I love Mario.
Late to win the Canada Cup over. That was serious stuff, man.
I'm sure every game is serious.
It was serious
between
stuff.
Russia, I think 3 biggest superpowers in hockey.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
Canada, Russia, and the United
That was
States.
fun time for hockey fans.
Yeah.
And then when
I played in Wisconsin because my first year in America, I ended up in Wisconsin, a very small town, and they like obsessed with hockey over there. You know, it's like
You're so right.
It's Wisconsin, Chicago, and Illinois over there. It's like all those winter states. They're big on hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even remember the excitement of being a Canadian, and those players were starting to come over. Yeah. Like when Pavel Bure first came over, McGillney.
Russian rocket.
McGillney came over. It was an exciting time, man, to like learn about these players and watch them play.
My most favorite one was I really like Detroit Red Wings because at that time when they won the Stanley Cup, they had that first Russian lineup. It was 5 Russians.
Yeah.
You're
right.
And then they had that accident really bad. Konstantinov and Fitis ended up, and he became paralyzed, right?
Terrible.
Like driving from the, the story,
I know,
right?
I do.
They were like in the limo and it turned over, whatever.
Yeah.
He became paralyzed. Called him like a Russian gladiator, man, like a mountain,
Okay.
Yeah, and then they were literally after winning Stanley Cup, they were like celebrating. Celebrating, and then they were driving back and got in a bad accident.
Yeah. But those guys, from what I remember, they were kind of at the tail end of their careers. Larionov, all them, kind of finishing up with Detroit. But watching Bure in his prime, man, like watching McGillney, some of those guys.
That's what they gave me a nickname, Russian Rocket, too, just for a sec, because he was so big back then. So it's like, and
you don't have that Canadian accent. You got a very
I've been
Americanized
down here for
or something.
15 years.
I don't know what is a Canadian accent.
It's
Frenchy.
A lot of A's.
Well,
there's some A's in there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you'll know it when you hear it. It's very distinct. I mean, of course, one of the greatest fighters, one of the goats of fighting, is from Canada.
Of course. Yep.
And he used to be one of our fighters.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Greg Jackson was coaching.
Yep.
So basketball, this is what, second year? This will
be my second year here. Yep.
What do you think? What do we got going on?
Whew,
big transition year. Your first year, it's tough. Nobody wants to give you a chance.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? And then you didn't win every single game, so the fans go nuts. I mean, every city is passionate about this sports.
It was
Albuquerque. That's all we have is the Lobos. So when you're the coach of the team of Albuquerque, the men's basketball is Albuquerque.
It is, no question.
So that's for New Mexico. That's like the only professional team.
That's probably the biggest money generator of the athletics.
It is.
Football is probably there, but basketball gets the attendance that.
And then Jackson Wink.
There you go.
Number one.
It's a good team right here.
Yeah.
But so year 2,
so
any surprises going on? I guess got some good recruits.
It's been an interesting journey. When I got here, there was very low expectations. A lot of the players had left the program. We really were starting from scratch. Expectations were very low. My expectations were high, but our expectations were low. Yeah. We didn't start out the season very well. So I think people just thought, okay, it's going to be a rough year. But then we turned it around, and we finished the season really strong. Nice. Had a great finish to it, went all the way to the conference championship game. And now that we're going into year 2, everyone thinks, we're going to make this next step now. So there's pressure now. There's expectations, which is great. I wouldn't want to be going into a season and everyone thinks we're not going to be very good. Yeah. I like going into a season going, well, we're going to win, coach. We're going to win, coach. So it's exciting. But with that comes pressure in this town, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's part of my job to manage that, particularly with our players, to make sure it's healthy, that they are attacking every day to be the best they can be, but not to where some of those pressures might impact them being the best they can be. So that's something I'm going to try and monitor and guide our team forward.
Yeah, you got a lot of pressure, and I know that. My parents have been, of course, they're UNM graduates back in the 60s. And,
alumni, right?
And they've had
alumni.
They've had season tickets since the beginning.
Yep.
At the pit, and they started out up in the mezzanine, the old mezzanine, and have graduated down to the nice seats on the bottom.
Good for them.
But they go to the men's and women's games.
Sure, that's great.
And my dad is so passionate about it, and they love just love everything about UNM athletics. But of course, basketball is one of their favorites, and the fans, I know they get so passionate about it because it is. It's just like when Holly goes and fights. We take that. We don't have a pro team
exactly.
Other than Jackson Wink is our pro team.
Yeah.
But basketball is our team that everyone rallies behind, and it's cool to see the fans.
It is because just like Jackson Wink and just like Lobo basketball. These are things that, Albuquerque, New Mexico have shown to be successful at, and I think a lot of people in New Mexico sometimes, get a little bit of a, we're not as good or we can't do certain things or whatever it may be. But when they see success, it's great. It's great for the community to rally behind. It's great to see, someone from this gym be a national champion or whatever it happens to be and a team they watch, because there are no pro sports teams. There are no other people to aspire to be when you're a little kid. When you're a little kid right now and you go down and you go look in their bedrooms, the poster will be Jackson Wink. The poster will be a Lobo basketball player.
Exactly.
It's not going to be Larry Bird or whoever, because that's not there. That's
maybe
not
some
here.
Gladiators now.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so it's cool. It's a very cool responsibility and a lot of pressure as well, to be successful. So hopefully we'll be able to live up to that.
Big steps to fill after the last coach, and he was there for at least part of the organization for a very, very long time as the backup coach, and then taking over as the head coach, and so he had his following, and but his time is done, and he's moved on, and you're here, and we got to rally behind you, and you're the guy, so let's Albuquerque, let's support him. New Mexico, of course, we're half Aggies and half.
Yeah.
But go Lobos.
For sure. No, and at the end of the day, we're all in this together. So, exactly. Any support we can all give for each other can only help.
100%.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question as a basketball coach and someone who's been in the game for so long. Like, when you're talking about greatest of all times, right? Because obviously we know it's Michael Jordan, right? And we grew up watching him and following his career, right? Even those that don't know basketball, they know Michael Jordan. It's an icon of the sport, But now with
the younger generation,
but now with LeBron James, so how does one really compare it to, like, even we deal with that in MMA a lot, because it's like it was Fedor Emelianenko considered to be the GOAT, and then John Jones comes in, and then George St. Pierre, and then from 10 years from now there's going to be somebody else that comes in, dominates and shines.
Good point.
And people forget about that, what Michael Jordan was back in the day. How does one preserve, something like that, and explain to someone, well, that's what Michael Jordan was, and now, how do you approach that?
I get asked that question all the time. It's a really hard question. The one thing I say is I think LeBron James might be one of the greatest athletes in the history of the world.
Wow.
When you look
That's saying a lot.
As an athlete, as just an athlete, his body, his specimen, what his body can and can't do. Ethic, I think if he, at a young age, decided to play football, decided to play soccer, decided to play whatever sport he wanted to play, he could.
He's that kind of athlete where he can cross over.
I really do. When you look at just the physique that he has, it's incredible, and it makes him an amazing basketball player. And I think that makes him a little bit different than Michael Jordan, because he was an amazing athlete and amazing in a lot of ways, but Michael is maybe just a different kind of player or talent because he doesn't have that The only reason I currently will tell people I think Michael's the greatest because Michael never lost in the finals. He's 6-0.
And that's what
He
people
never
like.
lost.
Yeah.
He got to a championship.
Stayed on one team.
He always won in the finals.
I personally hate comparisons like that to begin with.
Agreed.
Because, I mean, the history of the sport, there's so many athletes that come through generation after generation, different eras, different environments, different, different atmosphere right? So the same thing with MMA, too. Like, people compare someone 20 years ago who was so great, but they forget about them.
You're so right.
So I'm saying there's more room for somebody, there's...
No, it is. And
it's an ongoing process. It's not like one
and in
stands
basketball,
above
the game
all.
has changed a lot. So, like, when Michael played, it was a very physical game.
Yeah.
You could foul
Same
a
thing with
lot.
MMA too,
You could
like,
do that. And then now you can't. Like, there are some, like, apples and oranges.
I remember
to the
Dennis Rodman. You see, we have that sign, Dennis Rodman. Yeah, so... Yeah, like Dennis Rodman was a very physical player.
One of the most
like,
famous North Koreans around.
Do you think Rodman would be a great MMA fighter?
That's you guys to know more than
he would be a great entertainer, that's for sure.
Yeah, he'd bring some numbers. He'd
come
sell some
out,
tickets.
He'll come out in a wedding gown.
Dana White would love it, yeah.
With like piercings and
how
stuff.
Physical he was in the 90s.
He was very physical.
He would throw people to the ground.
Yeah, he would.
The NBA game was, if you go watch an NBA game in the 80s and 90s, no different than watching NHL hockey. Exactly right.
Man. That was a
bloodbath.
I loved it, man.
But it's different now.
Yeah,
so
it's watered down.
Hard.
They're like,
we
have to
people
go.
have feelings. And
totally different scenario. Yes, and now back then you went down the lane, someone hit you on the ground. I mean, it was normal. You just get hit. Now you get suspended. You'll get all kinds of stuff. It's changed that way.
And I think internet changes a lot of this too. A lot of the whole because a lot of younger generation, they spend so much time on the internet, that they not necessarily know, like social media, right? They not necessarily know the history of the sport, and they change the direction of the course and in the way of how the sport is being perceived, and because obviously they're going to stand behind LeBron James, right?
Yep.
Talk about
of course.
The good example about it is Dr. Bo Hightower. He posted something about Coach Jackson, Coach Wing, saying the GOATs of the game, right? And somebody in the comment, one of the young kids, probably no more than 15 or 16, wrote down and is like, no, they're not the greatest coaches of all
Conor
time.
McGregor's coach is the greatest.
Hold on, let me explain this. It's funny because he says Kavana and Firaz Zahabi and Ludwig are the greatest coaches, and two of those coaches actually were students of Greg Jackson and Wing.
That's the irony of it.
And he would not even how would he know about he didn't know. So and he's arguing that point. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? And that's
sure
talking about this, that so much history gets lost in the process that people just don't pay attention to it, don't study history anymore. They don't understand it, they don't see it, they don't
so like in hockey, like the equivalent would be like if Pavel Bure played now, he'd be unbelievable. But he played at a time where it was so physical and so tough, and that's what Michael Jordan was playing with. Like, it was, people fouled you all the time, like whatever. Michael Jordan in today's game with today's rules would be unstoppable because you can't play the way that they used to play.
So what about Wayne Gretzky?
Stuff like that. But I'm saying the era back then, it was just so much different. You know, like
I met Wayne Gretzky one time.
Hockey's
more
different
physical,
now.
more.
It was very physical, incredibly aggressive. There were no rules. I mean, it was just if he had my back, then you wouldn't touch me, and if he didn't, then you would. Like it was just a different game, and basketball was too.
Let me ask you this then, on a kind of a side note.
Sure.
That being said, things have changed. Coaching, you as a coach today, looking back, obviously when you were growing up, your coaches, their style, was it different then than the way you're allowed to be today with
Very
the
much
kids?
so.
You know, I mean, obviously you probably have to. There's a lot of PC and such in your coaching.
Very
back
much
then,
so.
It was probably like, you just said it how it is.
You know, I tell this to people every time I speak. I don't think kids have changed much. I don't think people have changed much. It's just the parenting that's changed.
That is
the
so true.
parenting has changed more than that kid deep down still feels the way I felt about all kinds of different things. The difference is the way the parents will reinforce certain behaviors or not has changed. It's even changed over the last 3, 4, 5 years. Forget 20. Sure, it's going away of there's some healthy parts to it, but there's also, going past that to a point of enabling and reinforcing things that aren't going to help them be
Participation
successful.
trophies and all that stuff.
That's what's changed more than anything. Parenting has changed more than the young man has.
And
education too. I think the whole education system changed. It's more like I was growing up in Russia, man. My teacher would just literally slap the hell out of me, man. Like for
that only happens in Catholic schools in America.
For being a fool, like, and there would be no repercussions, Now the teachers are even afraid to raise their voice at somebody, because and then you see all these things. They're afraid of social media and cameras because the minute they do something, phones come out.
Yeah, the students are recording it,
sure.
putting it on
so
YouTube.
It's like, how do you improve? How do you make I don't know. So how do you influence children?
As a coach, are you the one that implements like strict social media policies, or is that an AD decision? Or
no, most of the stuff we do in our team, like there might be some overall general policies that get handed down to me that we have to pass along. But quite honestly, just because of the seriousness of our program, a lot of the things that are going on internally are I like to do the way I think should be done, just because at the end of the day, the buck stops with me.
Yeah.
So if you come and say you have this social media policy, that's great. I'll pass it along. But if I feel there's something in addition to that we should do to protect our team or protect me or the organization, then I'll put that in place as well. And maybe you don't have one, so I need to do it. So me personally, at the end of the day, I'm responsible for our group, and I do whatever I can to kind of make sure that that's covered.
And the reason I bring that up,
you're head coach, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and the reason I bring that up is because it's changed. Social media has changed so much, where everybody wants to. Man. They want to report on everything that's going on and show it all out there.
Exactly right.
And back in the day, that didn't exist. If there was a video camera, it was a big old production camera.
Yeah.
And it was for some other purpose.
I'm very thankful there was no social media when I was their age.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have done some things said some things that would have come back to haunt me. You hear about it all the time in the news about someone who did a social media thing when they were but at a very young age, and it's coming back 10 years later or 5 years later, or whatever. That would be me. I think all of us would have said something at 18 or 19
even
or whatever.
On tape. You can convert tapes and VHS tapes into electronic files and end up on the internet too.
Yeah, it's scary that I feel bad for them because
I feel bad
you can't make mistakes now. Like at 16, 17, 18, 19, I could make mistakes. No one would have ever
even
known.
You look at those street fights and things like that. Somebody getting knocked out. I scroll through Facebook, and just every other video of some street fights, somebody getting laid out and stuff. Back in the day, you got
exactly
your head kicked off, and no one knew about it. It was just between you and you in your hood, wherever, and you move on.
Now you have to.
Now you have to on World Star, and you have to live with it first. So you're being on the internet.
And that's the way they live their lives.
It's
and
terrible.
Tough.
It's terrible.
It's
terrible.
tough.
I don't like where it went. Man.
I know.
I think there should have been some kind of limitations. I think it's just literally became free world. It's just whatever, everything sticks. Just throw it out there, and it's going to live on there forever. And I don't like that because you cannot. Some people can't recover from it. That's why a lot of people end up depressed, suicides. They become socially.
There's a lot of pressure, peer pressure, a lot of peer pressure on them,
but the
social pressure.
Coach told us before the show he doesn't have any social media on his phone.
I do not.
Yeah, he doesn't need that distraction. He said,
lucky you. I envy people that like that. I can't. I need this for work.
I'll get on the I have social media. I just get to a laptop.
That's how we got held of you 5 months later. Right? That's what I heard. Right? We sent you a message
we contacted
5
you back
months,
in January.
5 months ago or something.
Oh, by the way, I don't check.
That bad.
I don't check my phone that often.
There was a little delay, man.
It wasn't that bad. We were just messing with it.
Let me ask you a question. So obviously, being a head coach for a big collegiate team, especially like D1, I mean, it's pretty good position, right? So if you do well, right? If you do well for whatever, what is the progression for a coach, collegiate coach? Do you have a chance to get to NBA if you do well in college, or how does a coach become an NBA coach?
Yeah.
What is the path?
If you look at the NBA coaches, I'd say there's probably I don't know what there are 32 NBA teams, maybe 30 or 32 NBA teams, and I'd say there's probably 3 or 4 that have gone from college.
Okay.
And the rest of the NBA coaches are NBA assistant coaches and stuff like that.
Okay.
So the coach of the Boston Celtics came from college. coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder. He came from college, and over the years, college coaches have kind of made the jump. But quite honestly, not a lot of college coaches really want to do it because the job security is very small.
You're looking at a term, like a 4-year term. Sometimes.
Not even that. If you're not a very good NBA coach, you're gone in a year. You're gone in 2 years. So
it doesn't open up other doors though.
It does a little bit, but if they're usually those guys are at a very good college job with very good security, they're getting paid very well,
insurance, and
everything's good. So they'll only leave for a good job. Very, very rarely would a good college coach leave for like a bad NBA job or a job that they might get fired at quickly.
Totally
or
makes
something.
sense. So you're comfortable.
Who are the other coaches that? Who are the other coaches? So if it's not collegiate, so I guess former players.
Assistant coaches. So like an NBA, if he's the head coach for the Lakers and you're the assistant coach for the Lakers,
and my time's up.
You might get his job, or I'll come hire you as an assistant coach.
But do a lot of players become coaches?
A lot more now. Yeah, a lot more now. Yeah, I'd say over the last 5 to 10 years, many more ex-players are getting into it.
And LeBron,
and
he's
becoming,
a current coach.
Yeah, imagine that. So who do you think is the greatest coach of all time in NBA?
If you just look at wins and losses, Phil Jackson would be hard to say no. But
he was the Bulls, right?
Bulls and then Lakers.
And Lakers.
I remember
he's got rings. He's got rings on all his fingers.
Yeah. So if you just look at wins and losses, by far, Red Auerbach used to coach the Celtics when they won a lot of championships. But I'm sure your fighting's no different. If you have a great player or a great team and the coach coaches and they win, that obviously that's great for the coach. But sometimes there's a really bad team or a bad player, and sometimes the coach doesn't win the championship, but he does a great job with them. You know what I mean? And maybe they don't win it all, and maybe they don't get all the prizes and awards and stuff.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they're not a great coach. There's a lot of great coaches out there.
You can only do so much.
Yeah, you work with what you have. They do great jobs with who they get to work with, and maybe they don't get the notoriety of like all this kind of stuff, but they're still really good at what they do. And there's a lot of really good basketball coaches that people don't know about that just do an amazing job with what they currently have.
Well,
it's now a game too. Happens a lot.
Yeah,
it's an incredibly tough process to become a coach. I don't think people realize. I mean, the crap you have to go through to get that position, even at your level. I mean, it's all over the news about all the potential candidates that they're looking at. And I remember when they were talking about you and your background.
Big selective process.
It was huge selection process.
But just to even get your foot in the door, like I don't know if someone walked in right now and said, I want to be the next Greg Jackson, what they make you do. But like when I said I wanted to be a college basketball coach, and I got my foot in the door, I wasn't coaching at all. I was mopping the floors. I was like mowing the grass, working concession stands. I was doing all that.
That's how it started.
Yeah, and I don't know how it works, but it'd be the same thing. If a guy walks in and says, I want to be Greg Jackson,
that's not gonna happen.
Where you start at, and how long it takes. But to get into the college basketball coaching profession, man, you've got to pay your dues.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying.
You've really got to grind through a lot of stuff that it has nothing to do with coaching basketball.
And then the regents and everybody has to have their input.
As you get to the end, you're right. As you get to the end and the politics around getting particular jobs, that's a whole other ballgame.
Sure. There's politics everywhere. It's like in military too. You start as a freaking E1 enlisted. You're not going to walk in and say, I want to be an admiral.
Yeah.
But then there's those benefits that they're paying you well. They got you a nice little house and. Life's good.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Who you think is the? I like quizzing all the time.
Yeah, go ahead.
In your profession, because I don't know that much about basketball. I know some, but who do you think is the best team of all time in NBA?
The Golden State Warriors have obviously been tremendous. They compare them
Golden
to
State Warriors. Never heard of them.
The Golden State Warriors
in the NBA.
Yes,
I heard of them, but I would say not Bulls.
Well, they broke the Bulls record, last year.
Yeah.
What state they play? Golden State Warriors. Where is that?
California.
California. Huh.
Yeah.
So
that's the big dilemma right now.
I wouldn't know if I didn't ask.
Well, that's the big dilemma right now. Who's the best team of all time?
Recently, I mean, they were.
Yeah, it wasn't this past year. It was the year before.
But it's a new team though, because they weren't.
No, they've been around. They've been around forever. They're just one of those teams no one heard of until recently.
They were never great, historically. But the last, I'd say 3 or 4 years, they've put together a great team, and they've been breaking all the Bulls records.
Who's their coach?
The bandwagon is huge.
Bandwagon's huge. Cool.
Yeah.
They just don't have the names, the athlete names that people associate with
They're hot names right now. Like these guys that are on
Now
the team right now, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, all these people. They're all on the Warriors. And they're winning a lot of games, and they're breaking some of those old Bulls records. So everyone's having this conversation: who's better, those Bulls teams,
who's the GOAT,
or these Warriors teams? But like you said, it's hard to compare two different eras. Like it's just hard to do. So
is Bulls doing okay
that
now?
Great Bulls team, Luke Longley from
Bulls
UNM.
are struggling, but they're rebuilding, I think.
Yeah, so we had a Lobo that went and played for the Bulls. Luke Longley, Australian guy.
Yeah,
he
really?
big, huge, 7 foot.
We've had a few. Tony Snell went to go play for him.
Snell,
Cam Bairstow went to go play for him.
We've had who else? Let's see.
You know who I met personally?
Kenny
Kenny Thomas.
Kenny Thomas.
When I lived in New Jersey, I met Patrick Ewing.
Okay.
Yeah, he came by to my place of work. I used to work in a car dealership, like BMW and stuff.
He just became a college coach.
He couldn't fit in any of the cars.
Yeah.
And he was walking. he was walking, like struggling walking.
Yeah.
Like bad.
It's like
knee
Shaq.
problems,
Yeah,
bad
he does
knee
walk
problems,
like that. You're right.
Very bad knee problems.
It's just like Shaq, man. He has to make custom everything.
He is humongous, Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
Man. And he's already old and kind of like
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ. What a
He just
presence
became a college head coach last year,
for
Georgetown, where he played at.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
He is one of the greatest.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What's up, Mark?
I don't know. We got overmodulated. I was trying to send a note here. There we go. All right, thanks, Nick. Lost my train of thought. So what's the makeup of the team this year? What do you got? How many seniors, freshmen?
Sure.
What do we got?
So in the NCAA, you can transfer. So if you go to New Mexico, and he goes to Texas Tech or whatever, and you want to transfer to a school, you're allowed to transfer, but you have to sit out a year. So last year, when I got the job, we took some transfers. So we had some transfers sitting out that didn't get to play last year that this year get to play.
Nice.
And they have, nice
big break.
Yeah, they have big profiles and a lot of resumes behind them. So that's why everyone's expecting us to do better, because these transfers are now eligible to play for us this year. But we still have to go out and actually come together as a team, connect, and perform to our highest abilities. Just because we have all this talent doesn't necessarily guarantee anything. Now we have to make sure that these guys come together and work hard as a group, and chemistry and all those kinds of things.
It always happens with all-star teams, right? Like they'll pick all the best guys, and then they can't play
exactly right
because they just don't click.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's what we're in the process of doing right now. But the expectations are high because
that's the hardest part. Probably.
We have such good players, for sure. It's by far the hardest part.
Who you got your eyes on for this year? Who you have the highest hopes on, or what? Or is that
player wise?
Is it hard to pick?
The one thing I have tried to do since I've got here is really make this about the team, and like de-emphasize individuals. We took the names off the back of the jerseys.
Really?
I took their photos off their log. I mean, we've done everything we could do to just make them be a part of a team. The hardest thing to do with kids today, for me anyways, the hardest thing to coach is getting them to not want to be an individual and be a part of a team. It's really, really hard to do because our society is going
once again, social media,
so much toward exactly. And they want a tattoo that differentiates themselves. They want something that makes them different than the person next to them. And there's some value in that to them as human beings. We want to be confident. We want to believe in who we are. We want to be different in certain ways. But when you're trying to coach a basketball team or any kind of team, that unfortunately doesn't always mesh with that. So that's where my biggest job is, getting you to not single out certain guys. Oh, you're the best player. You're this. You're that.
That's why I'm glad I asked that question.
No. Let's make this about the team as much as we can.
That's exactly why I'm asking that question, because you answered it perfectly. It makes total sense. You can't pick your favorite child. This is a family.
Yep.
Let's work together.
And that's what we're going to do.
And if the family wins, we all win.
No, and the thing is, over the course of a season, over last year's season, we may have a stretch where you're playing terrific, and we may have a stretch where he's playing great, and then I'm playing great, and maybe there's a stretch where you're just struggling, and you're not playing very well. And him too.
To pick up the slack.
And on top of that, I wouldn't want, we talk about these kids going through this. I don't need some 19-year-old kid, picking up his social media going, you suck, you're this, you're that. No, relax. It's okay. You had a couple of rough games. We'll be okay. And he's going to step in, and he played really well. So everything's, they're young, and sometimes because they get individualized so much, they feel all this pressure because of the social media, because of all this stuff. It's like he's saying, like they have like the equivalent. They have a fight, you get knocked out in the fight, now you're embarrassed. Same thing with these players. Like if they get dunked on or like something happens, and all these people are just barraging them at 19 years old, and it's like
it's got to be tough.
It's like, guys, relax. Yeah, and that's what it is. It's sensitivity. It's like, just relax. You're gonna be fine.
With us, it's kind of similar but a little different because it's mostly like individual sport, obviously, because one-on-one type of fighting, but it's still a team sport in a way that you represent the team. So like everyone's win and everyone loss is direct reflection on us. Even though if you're amateur or you're pro, it don't matter.
Sure.
We feel exact same pain that you feel, because if Greg Jackson always says, everyone kind of like, all the fighters' wins are theirs, all the losses are mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're so right.
So it's like, and for being a coach, and of such a big popular team as this, kind of, it's a huge burden on Coach Jackson Wink too, because you can only control so much. But no matter what, because we have fighters that are no longer trained here, or maybe they're little camps here back in there, but because they were here, they still associated with us, and we feel that a lot. Like no matter if they fought, because so many guys come and go because it's such an international camp, and then they'll go perform somewhere and they don't do well. And then people
without naming names, they promote themselves when they're here, because this is the
course they
gym
do.
in the world. So there's pictures of Jackson Wink,
and then they it's us.
Yeah, then they're gone.
We have nothing to do with it.
They went to some other gym in Cincinnati or something, but they took so many pictures with that Jackson Wink that it's ingrained, and
especially with social media now, people like pull up their name and like picture comes out with like JW logos, like, oh, they're JW guy.
And they left us 3 years ago, but they're still Jackson Wink, and so it's tough because it.
And are they leaving because they want to leave, or there are times you tell them it's time to leave, or how does that work?
No, we never kick anyone out.
No, unless it's usually in a way where. Because people come from all around the world and they can't just stay here forever. People's life situation changes. They have a child. People live in South Africa or Europe or whatever. Not everyone can afford always come to America, and so
that's the difference between like that basketball where they're on a scholarship.
They're
paid to play here. With MMA, there's no such thing.
Okay,
they're paying out of pocket.
So
if they don't have a sponsor, a rich family or something, they're not.
A lot of them are sponsorships. A lot of them, obviously, we have dorm rooms, apartments where we house them, and I work with these guys, and but
it's not free.
So what does your average MMA fighter make then? Like to make it work?
That's tough, because these guys are fighting in smokers for nothing.
Really,
or if they'll go to get in some of the leagues, they may make $1,000.
Really?
Yeah, 500 to win, 5 to
and with that they got to pay their coaches, all the supplements. That I mean, so it's an expensive sport, and they're not making money.
It's not an easy, but mostly it comes from passion. Just that's what people just
So
like
do they work
boxing,
jobs and stuff?
Like with boxing too, right? The same thing. It's like. Either make it or not. It's
you walk into Starbucks down the street, you're going to see two of our fighters. You see the corner store, you're going to see a couple of our fighters.
We have
fighters, you name it.
That's amazing.
Every restaurant,
security guards, bouncers. I mean, we bring a lot of people to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
But I mean,
so the best of the best, though, they make enough money.
Those guys.
John Jones, Holly Holm, even like the lower, like anyone in UFC, if you break through the first couple fights and you win and this like that, you can kind of secure yourself something, But I mean, there's fighters that make $500,000, $250,000 a fight, you know, and stuff like that. But most of them young kids, So like, some of them still in college.
Good point.
Some of them still studying,
trying to follow a dream.
For some it's just a passion, and some are really good. Some have nothing else to do. Some of them bored. They just. For some of them, they're just trying to escape from something,
So how does it work on this end? You asked me about basketball, like when one of those people walk into the gym for the first time, do you know right away, or?
No, it's
typically when they walk in this gym, they have to have some kind of background anyway.
Got it.
And that's his job to kind of vet them.
Okay.
So what did you do in high school? Were you at least or were you a Division I wrestler or?
But are there times they walk in and you see them start to move and you're like, okay, this person's really
we
really
do
good.
Some tryouts for like literally for people that are here local, they want to join, and they say, I have like a little bit of karate or a little bit of grappling, so we'll try them out. See, because we have a family gym in town too, so we send them there if they completely like very raw raw.
Okay.
You know, we do get some raw, like very raw fighters that get in, but mostly like if they're coming from a different background. Like in the we had that Lobo, Lobo's football player, freaking monster. He just had natural abilities. He's throwing everyone around. He's a physical specimen like nothing else. You know, we have another kid, CJ Boston. Okay, he just comes in. And he played college football too here in New Mexico. I forgot where, and just throwing everyone around, just like
a lot of football players making the transition,
and then, like bodybuilding stuff like that. Like we know that girl is strong as an ox, you know. So it's like even though they have no martial art experience, we'll give them that platform because at least we can build on something and that physical raw strength. You know, but mostly, we do want someone that has some kind of experience.
The ex-Dallas Cowboy that is now in the MMA. That's Hardy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See, like even UFC doing the same things. They're bringing in like NFL players. Like they have this contender show where they had 2 football players in the NFL just duke it out, and how about that other for the Bellator? Keep forgetting his name, NFL player.
But the contender thing is a cool thing. I don't know if you know anything about it, but it's basically they Dana White, the president of the UFC, he has these fights every Tuesday night where guys their record has to be like 3-0 or something.
No. Like they have to have at least 3
some kind of 3 fight win
three
record or something, and so he puts the best of the best against each other on Tuesday nights and.
The best of the lowest best. Like
I understand. The up-and-comers.
That's how they win the contract. Like, and they decide if the guy.
They throw them in there like gladiators and basically
duke it out. And we like it. We'll give you a contract.
Yeah, interesting. So it's another way to get in.
Before they used to have the Ultimate Fighter show. So they still have it, but it's been like in 20-some seasons, you know. It's been
Diego
Sanchez. You know who Diego Sanchez is?
I saw it.
Yeah, he's one of our original ones that won the first season.
Okay.
So he's one. Like 18 years in UFC.
Yeah, we've got a couple guys, John Dotson, that have been on that
John Dotson,
show.
Diego Brandao, Diego Sanchez, so that won that show, and that's like they would take fighters, put them in the house, they live together like 2 separate teams, and they
dorm
compete,
rooms.
And then
was Diego Sanchez the first guest on the show? The first.
Yes.
Okay, that's where I saw the picture.
First winner.
He's a regional Albuquerque. He was born here, so he is who put MMA on the map for Albuquerque.
Okay.
He literally always say this is the guy that actually made that movement here.
That's great.
And he's still current UFC right now. He's the record, the longest active UFC fighter. Even before it was UFC, he's been there. And
a fight coming up in September.
Yeah, he's fighting next month. Yeah, guy won't give up. He's just
natural.
That's all he wants to do is fight.
This is crazy history in this gym, man. There's so many legends to come through it. I would always say about 65-70% of like UFC roster passed the current one way or another, passed through here, trained here. You know,
that's amazing.
Crazy.
It's a cool place.
It is a cool place.
So this I'm reading your Wikipedia that just came up. What's
well, I got a fun fact that's pretty cool about, because he was talking about team earlier. They gave him the cherry blazer, and he said, "I haven't earned it to wear it."
Oh wow!
Is that true?
Don Bosco Catholic? That's New Jersey?
No, it's in Toronto, but it's the same thing.
But
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Jersey guy has got all excited.
No, because they have them.
No, they do. They have one in California too.
Oh.
I don't know. I guess it's a tradition for the basketball coach to wear the
red jersey,
the red blazer, and they asked me to wear it. And this it really wasn't anything other than
you don't feel like you've earned it yet.
Yeah,
it says a lot about you.
It mean to wear a jersey like that, like to wear a championship belt, like to wear something to me, like.
So what do you think it's going to take for you to actually?
I don't know.
Feel like
that's what everybody keeps asking. We have to win a lot for me to feel like I can wear a jacket and feel like this is about
wearing
me
the green
or
jacket
whatever.
At the Masters or something.
Yeah, I just that's a lot, and that's not really my personality. I if we win, it's mostly due to the players.
You sound like Greg Jackson right there. Yeah,
no, but
not about me.
But it is. When we win, I don't get overly excited. I don't get that way because I'm really happy for them. I want them to enjoy that moment.
You have a job.
And they're young and they're kids and they're experiencing things, and I want them to win, way more than it is about me. Now, especially being here, I've come to realize it is about me whether I like it or not sometimes.
Yeah.
So as much as I might not want to, have that attention on me, it's going to come to me, and there's a responsibility that comes with that. So I'm not totally ruling out ever wearing it because I want to be able to also communicate to our fans and our community that, I love you too, you know, and I wanna show my appreciation. I just like showing it in different ways.
You know, and I'm glad you got that out there because it tells the fans, look, I'm not being an asshole about it. I just don't feel like I've earned it.
I don't.
I'm not
and
that
quite
cool.
honestly, I'm not that important.
Yeah, I'm not that cool. I'm nobody.
Yeah,
that's how Greg and Wink are too.
They're totally humble about that stuff.
Says,
they're totally happy being the guys holding the bucket. They always say that I'm just the guy
holding
the spit bucket.
Yeah, hold the spit bucket.
You know, I mean, but it's not all about them. They're like, oh, don't even worry about us.
Yeah.
You know, but
but again, I'm sure they deal with the same thing. You can't always be that way because there are fans, there are people that do want to see you, communicate with you, hear from you, and that's something I've learned to kind of work on here. Is like, you know what, I can't just go into my cave and coach the team and be quiet and out of the way. I do have to get out and I do have to like interact with people and do these kinds of things publicly because I do have an organization that I care about and I want to see successful and I need people to believe in us too, and that's part of the reason I do all this stuff.
Wink runs away, man. Like he's like if they want to fight, he's like he's the fighter. Talk to him.
Yeah,
exactly.
As soon as he sees that camera, he just hides.
So it's not about me. It's about them. I'm out.
Yeah,
you know. So it's funny.
And that's
and I try to catch him. No, we can go.
Yeah, exactly. Get in front of that camera, man. We need you. We need that exposure. Yeah.
And that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's like, you know what? There are times you have to do it. It's your responsibility to the community that you're trying to get to support you to engender yourself to them.
Yeah. Do you do? Have you been doing a lot of media lately, or has it started yet?
It's nonstop.
It's got to be.
It's 12 months a year. Everyone wants to know the latest with the team, the latest with this, the latest with that. So again, same thing. It's not something that maybe I wake up in the morning going, man, I can't wait to go do that. But it's like, you know what? I have a responsibility. I'm the basketball coach here. I have a team that a lot of people follow and they want to know things about.
Spent a lot of time with Van Tate and those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He lives here too. Yeah.
Communicate to them. Communicate to them what's going on with our team so they can tell the fans, and then also show my appreciation in return. I love being here. Albuquerque has been awesome to me. My family loves it here. I love it here. Meeting people like Greg Jackson, like just getting around in the community and getting to know more people. That's fun for me. Like
it brings up a good point. So
I enjoy that.
So you got your family here. What's that consist of?
I have a wife and I have two very young sons. I have one that just turned 3, and I have another one that's just about 8 weeks now.
Guess what they're going to do? Play basketball?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
So nothing in the school system yet. Yeah. So that's cool, but it's good that you're raising the family here. And
let me ask you a question. So when you come in, right, as a new coach, and you have obviously a team of this, young man, right, still in development, right? How do you get through to them? Like, how do you? Because like it's funny because Greg Jackson kind of like made me a little bit of like an assistant coach for jiu-jitsu, and I don't coach teams, like or anything like this. So, and I love jiu-jitsu.
He's a brown belt jiu-jitsu.
I'm just passionate about it, So and I like talking jiu-jitsu like for hours. Like if somebody I can talk to, they understand. Yeah. And I train every day as much as I can. But like when I have this group of people and I'm trying to teach them something, because I don't have that experience in coaching, but I think I'm getting through and stuff. But like, how do you, when you came in, right, to a new team, so how do you put that stamp on it?
How do you coaching advice?
Yeah, just how do you get just on a personal level, just like how do you get through to this guy? Because all I'm looking sometimes and just eyes on me, just like I don't understand. Like, are they understanding me? Am I getting through to them, or they like? How do you tell that they picking it up, that they're respecting you, if they're liking it, they're not liking you, and things like that?
That's an amazing question.
Yep. Come on, coach. Let's hear it. Yeah.
It takes a lot of time. So when I got here, and the season hadn't started yet. So when I start telling them all these things, everyone's like, "Oh yeah. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it." I love it.
Be nice, but you don't know if they're true or they're not true.
That's what they're telling me, so I'm believing it. And then as it went on, you start to realize, well, maybe not everybody really feels that way.
Yeah.
So some just kind of move on, and then our season kind of went that way because the season didn't start out great. So I could kind of see right away, okay, maybe all these guys really weren't buying everything I was selling, and that's where I had to kind of think to myself, okay, what do I do now? And I just believed in myself. I stuck with what I knew. I stuck with what I thought could help us be successful, and I stay with it. I didn't break. I didn't say, I'm going to be nicer now, or I'm going to do this to you now. Hey, this is the way it's going to be, and this is how we're going to teach, how we're going to coach, how we're going to play. And eventually they started to buy in. It just took time. It took me every day just banging home the same lessons, the same teaching points, the same philosophies. And, you can tell a kid every day, hey, man, you got to work hard. Like, to be good, you have to work hard. And they'll try and they'll try and they'll try. But if they don't get the success instantly, you might lose them. Yeah. But I just kind of stuck with it,
Because me, myself, like, I don't believe in lip service. So, how, like, you get a lot of people that just, like, trying to talk, whatever. But, like, then the result is what, like, especially see with politicians.
See, he's in a special situation because he's the GM, and he's the guy that collects money from everybody. But now he's got to be a coach for that too. So he's already in that leadership role.
Sure.
Now it's just.
So I don't know if I'm taking on too much or it just I'm just trying to help because Greg got kind of a little bit mad because we're having all these amateurs, and even though they had fights, they don't know some basics of groundwork and jiu-jitsu and things like that. And Greg is usually teaching advanced stuff, and then you have all this lower level guys that are trying to because we mix up classes too with pros and amateurs.
Got it.
For like for like smaller classes where so they don't get hurt like in sparring. We don't do that because then they get knocked out or they hurt someone.
Okay.
But in this instance, Greg is like, we need to work on basics. Basics win fights, and these guys can't even like throw an armbar properly or don't know what a kimura is or things like that.
So can you not bring in someone to just focus on that and do kind of fundamentals for the?
Well, that's what we're trying to do. That's why we started a class on Saturday actually to focus on I call it back to the basics. Okay. But then it's kind of like almost ended up with that thing where now I have to, on top of everything else, I have to help with jiu-jitsu. I'm already there because I'm training myself for that hour, So now what we do, we pull the guys out for like half an hour. So all the pros go with Greg, and all the people that know jiu-jitsu and grappling, they go with Greg, and I take all the like lower level guys and just try to drill basics into them. Just guys, this is how you take a shot. This is how you arm drag. This is how you shrimp and throw your hips up and things like that. So that's why that's why I asked. So like, how do I approach it? Just keep drilling.
See, that stuff we do all the time. Like
drilling,
from a basketball perspective,
it's all about leadership.
There's some advanced stuff that maybe we could do, but we spend way more time on that basics, than we do the advanced.
Exactly.
And that we just do it every single day. It's boring.
Makes sense.
They've done
That's what I don't understand sometimes because they're like,
we do
I almost feel like
stuff.
Because I almost feel like they want to be with Greg because they're like, I want to be there because Greg would be like, all the newbies go.
And my
over there.
players feel the same way. They want to do all that stuff too, but I'm like, forget it.
They want to do the
cool
stuff.
This. We're doing the basics. We're going to dribble.
We're going to reinforcement for me.
That's
how I use you as an example. I'm going to actually even say today, I had a meeting with the head coach of Lobos.
We do the boring basic stuff every day
because this is what's going to win your fights.
Exactly.
So you like matches too. It's going to win your matches.
That's why we focus on
basic dribble or whatever.
And there's some other teams we play that maybe have more of those advanced techniques than we do, but I don't care. I want to beat them at that game. I want to beat them at the fundamentals, and hopefully that'll allow us to be successful. Yeah, that's my thought. That doesn't make it right. That's just kind of how
it makes sense. I mean, but they're Coach Jackson and Wink are always saying that we're gonna get back to the basics. You know, guys are just. They're trying to learn too much crazy shit. The flips and screw that stuff.
We're the same way. We spend more time on shooting than anything.
It's like Bruce Lee said. Remember that 1,000 kick thing? Remember that
is a good quote.
I forgot what it is. But
the exact quote. I don't know what it is. We have to look it up.
Hey, Coach, have you ever had a Hoosier moment like in the locker room at halftime and gave a speech that turned the team around?
This young in your career,
we've had some pretty intense ones. I wouldn't lie, but inevitably, it's the players more than it is me. So like I can have a moment or I can say something, but it still takes that player to kind of go out and do it. We had a lot of great second half comebacks this past year, and we came back and won a lot of games. But as much as I might make myself feel better and think that's because of my speech, it's just because we train really hard. We're mentally tough.
There you go.
We do all those things.
It wasn't about me.
And it just takes time sometimes for that time. And I'm sure fighting's no different. I'm sure at the beginning of a fight, there are some fighters that are technically terrific. And as the fight wears on, their technique gets worse and worse. Basketball is the same way. And I might not be better than them at the beginning of the fight, but my goal is by the end, if we're mentally tough enough and we can still execute the fundamentals, then we can win the game. And that's all we try and do.
I keep always saying, basics win fights, man. Basics win matches because then they all try to become like, oh, I gotta take him out first round, I'm gonna knock him out. And they burn out.
Exactly.
And then they see that guys.
We play the same way.
And then you have to kind of get, because you're tired, you have to get back to your original, normal, basic things that win fights. And
so that's our philosophy. So people will say I had good halftime speeches, but I really didn't. We were just following our philosophy. We always call it, like I told the guys last year, it was war of attrition. Like, we might not have their size, their strength, their talent, but we're tougher than they are, we're deeper than they are, and we can go longer than they can. So let's just
my sensei used to say, repetition is the mother of the learning.
Yep.
I think that's a good place to end this, because going back to the basics, it's keep it simple, stupid as
for sure. I'm not smart enough to do much else, so I just stick with that.
I want to thank you, Coach, for spending
nice to meet you guys.
Valuable time with us. Awesome. I know you're an extremely busy guy.
Yeah,
bring your players here for a tour.
I need to
bring them by. Just check it out.
They won't want a tour. They'll want to jump in on something.
That's all right.
That's fine. But I think
Misha wants to scout.
Yeah, not necessarily. We're not going to recruit.
You can't steal them right now. When they're done, you can take them.
They're obligated.
Just bring so we can build that bond.
For sure. They would love it.
We're two of the biggest professional teams
to
a certain extent, in this area. Right?
I will do that.
Bring them for the tour. Everyone comes in here.
Mondays and Tuesday mornings are the best. So Greg and Winker here.
Yeah, they can. I had a female basketball team come through. They were visitors.
The women's basketball team came out.
There's this soccer team come in. It's like
I'm coming. You understand? I am coming.
Show them the dorm life over here.
They won't want to stay. They won't want to stay. First of all, they won't fit in.
Yeah, those beds aren't made for
the special bunks for those.
But, I'm bringing them by.
Please do,
send us a message so we're both here.
I will do that.
Entertain you, show you around, give you a full tour.
I will do that for sure.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
guys.
definitely, Coach. We'll see you. We'll see you. Good luck with the season this year.
And good luck to you guys too, man.
We need it.
Do you have a season, or it just goes all?
It's always. There's no such thing as a season with us.
Whole year long, we got fights all around.
The next 3 months, we have so many fights coming up, and then we may have a break for a month. Okay, we're gonna have another 3.
Not necessarily a break. Sometimes I might go last year. We had 60 UFC fights. 60. No other team in this world had that many UFC fights. 60 at high level.
So there's never a period where there's no fights.
No.
Every weekend we got a fight, at least one. But usually it's like 10 fights somewhere, go around. Can't even keep up with most of the guys.
All over the world, and it's not just nothing.
The only way I find out is through social media and give them a shout out. But they sometimes be like, "Oh, he just fought," and because some guys don't use social media, they don't want to advertise it. Where like, "Oh, I'm fighting," and they lose, and then they gotta say, "Wasn't my night." Some guys wait just until they fight, so then they can post a picture. I won, and be like, "Oh, you fought? We didn't even know." So it's like,
okay.
Well, go Lobos!
Thank you very much.
We'll see you throughout the season, and come check in with us, please.
I will be back. Thanks, you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Through these doors walk the greatest fighters in the world.